Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Melanie. I am super jazzed to be here as always. Today's video, of course, is about the new moon in Cancer coming up for June 2020. This new moon falls on the 20th of June, which is also the first day of summer, so our summer solstice. There is also a solar eclipse happening. There is a lot of things going on in the sky, just like there's a lot of things going on in our world, of course. So the Cancer archetype that we're working with this month for the new moon ritual is cardinal, water, ruler of the fourth house, as well as the moon is its planetary association. So we've got a lot of feelings, we've got a lot of introspection, the home body, the mother archetype. Its kind of glyph is the crab. First, let's talk about the fact that Cancer is a cardinal sign. Cardinal is the initiator, the first step, the leader, the spur into motion. They have this fluidity to them. It's interesting in the Cancer archetype, their movement is odd because the cardinal energy, you're used to that. Perhaps the Aries example is a good one, where they're straight to the point. We're gonna cause change, we're gonna go out and we're gonna inflict our will upon the world, for good or bad, right? They're initiating the change, they're leading the way. Cancer is a cardinal sign and does lead and does initiate, but they're not direct. The way Cancer moves, the combination of cardinal and water, is a lot more like, okay, we're gonna make a change, we need to make a change. Let's spread out, just like water would, find the path of least resistance or what we feel like would intuitively work best. Where do we feel like going? It's very emotionally driven, not physically or mentally. It's very, I feel like this is the right way to go. I've tested the waters in a couple different areas and now we're gonna pursue this one. So it's not as direct as I would say fire or air or earth would be when it comes to the cardinal energy. The water spreads out, finds the crack, and then goes exactly in that direction, right? It's the path of least resistance, but not because they're lazy, but because it's efficient and because it feels right, you know? Whatever really feels right, and they're led intuitively and emotionally, which can be confusing when you see or you're involved in the actual Cancer archetype, because you've got these people who are leading a situation, but if you can't follow their logic, you don't really exactly know why they want to do that. So there is some trust and some development that needs to happen if you're working with the Cancer archetype in a leadership role. Like I mentioned, because they're the water signs and cardinal, they definitely feel their way forward, right? It's like, getting a bad vibe about that. So a lot of decisions, a lot of direction and guidance or leadership given by Cancers and the Cancer archetype is very feeling it out with your gut. You're like, oh, that's not the way we're gonna do it. You don't rely necessarily on logic, you rely heavily on the intuition. Cancer is the first water sign of the zodiac. Of course, the other aspect that water lends to the Cancer archetype is the nurturing tenderness behind the emotional realm. Cancer is also ruled by the moon, and the moon in most occult studies, in everything that I can think of off the top of my head, is related to the subconscious, your emotional world, all of these fourth house Cancerian vibes, the internal, right? The unknown, especially if you look at the moon in tarot, for example. And then if you look at the actual moon in the physical sense, look at how fast it goes through its phases. The moon is consistently changing phases, however, it never stops or slows down and goes into the retrograde patterns like the other planets do. So you are kind of constantly changing, but at least the change is consistent. You know you're always going to be changing when you're dealing with the moon. You can come to expect that cyclical change. You know that after the new moon, it starts to get larger, and then you have the full moon, and then it starts to decrease. You know that that's going to happen. What that does with this water Cancer archetype is really enables the constant mood changes. And this can be both a good thing and a negative thing. It is the fact that you are going to have 40, 50 different moods in one day, and that should almost just be expected. You're having to navigate a consistent change, and you feel like, okay, I know it's going to change, so it's going to help, but it takes a lot of self-awareness to work with this Cancer archetype and not be completely swept up in those emotional tidal waves, right? And It's a beautiful image and a beautiful example, the moon and the water, right? The push and the pull, the tides, the waves, the changing water landscape internally almost all the time. Whether you have much external influence or it's only internal, the fact is your emotional landscape is changing almost constantly. So the fourth house represents and rules over your home, your family, if you have someone in the mother role or your mother, or if you are subsequently a mother or someone in a mothering role to your children or the children that you are in that role for. It represents your roots, your self-care, your foundations, the stability, right? It's really easy for me to remember the fourth house because I just think of the 4 pillars to a foundation. If you are going to build 4 walls, you need 4 corners in order to create a home, in order to create a strong foundation. So when you're doing a new moon ritual with Cancer, looking at the areas of your life that are ruled by the 4th house, the relationship you have with your family, who do you consider family? Of course, that includes people who are your chosen family. This is not only for those people who have the stereotypical family structure, right? Of course, this means your biological family, but as well as the one that you've cultivated for yourself. So your close friends, these kinds of extended family vibe structures, right? It's who fills that role and where are you getting that family sense of roots and security. You can work in areas of your ancestry. This is a great time to do ancestry work. It can kind of apply to like I've mentioned, your children, or if you want to spend time with a mother figure or to embody a mother role for somebody else, that caring, nurturing, emotionally dependable energy is strong with this one. If we take a look at the glyph for Cancer, it is the crab. What are the most noticeable features of a crab? You've got the really hard shell, the exoskeleton, and those really big pinchers in the front. Those, in my opinion, represent 2 very strong Cancer traits. Their affinity to be extremely protective of themselves. They've got that hard exterior, that kind of crusty shell to keep people away from the really soft inside, as well as those really big pinchers. And if you were to ever actually get pinched with a crab pincher, it can get really intense and hard to get it off. So it represents this other attachment aspect to the Cancer energy. Protection and attachment tend to go hand in hand because if anyone were to ever get past the hard exterior shell, the crab, the Cancer, would become then very attached to that person. It has a lot of play off of each other in the Cancer archetype and working with the Cancer energy because being so vulnerable, so sensitive, so intuitive, and so ruled by your intuitions and your emotions can get you in a lot of hurt really quickly. Wearing your heart on your sleeve has so many beautiful qualities, but these people can also get super, super hurt. And I think this is where a big misconception with Cancer energy and Cancer people come in, is that if you see someone who is this gruff, protected, cold, kind of aloof individual who might come across as kind of snappy or defensive, it has a hard time meshing with the idea of what a Cancer is, right? Because you always hear about Cancers being really sensitive and really gentle and kind and heart forward, and they are, but then you meet that one Cancer who's like a total dick and you don't get it. You're like, is not jiving. What's going on? Regardless of their other placements, which would definitely affect that, if you just look at the Cancerian vibe in there, is that you can only take getting hurt so much. You can only get kicked while you're down so much. You can only be vulnerable and loving and open so much until it starts to hurt sometimes, right? Things happen. Sometimes people are mean for no real reason. And in those situations, it can really cause someone who's so sensitive, so emotional, and so in tune with that part of themselves to become quite closed and bitter and scared, and to feel the need for that hard exterior shell, that sheltered, that protection, the guard your heart vibe, they're scared of being vulnerable. And you can't really blame them for that. Into some of the pros and cons, you do have the positive side of Cancer, which is this archetype that is so reliable, they are so caring, compassionate, nurturing, and attentive to what you need as well as what they need. And this is the positive side. It's a beautiful thing to have people who genuinely care, right? They are so in touch with their feelings, and they have this incredible ability to intuit what is going on and what needs to take place. They can really feel things out, right? All beautiful qualities. But if you were to look at the flip side of that coin, you do have the shadow aspects of Cancer, which are the tendency to be a little bit overbearing, a little bit too in control. You've got that helicopter parent vibe where the mom or whoever is in the mom role can't quite let that person go and make their own mistakes to learn from them. They just want to save that person the pain and to protect them. The overprotective overbearingness can really come in hard with a Cancer, especially a Cancer who doesn't have good boundaries. Another shadow side of the Cancer archetype would be the suppressed aggression and passive aggressiveness that can start to develop. Because Cancers are so strongly associated with the mother archetype or the moon, the sacred feminine, water, and emotions, they are not often allowed to express anger or aggression. When these people show aggression or anger, everyone kind of freaks out. They're like, whoa, you're angry. And it becomes a very big thing. And that can be a very negative reinforcement of them actually expressing natural feelings that they have. So they tend to develop a pattern of suppressing their aggression. They don't want to show those negative emotions. And a really important thing I think for us to realize is that anger is not a primary emotion. This is something that I know a lot of my friends have heard me talk about a lot, and something that has really helped me when it comes to processing emotions is that anger is not a primary human emotion. You will feel things like fear or pain, and then you become angry. You're sad or you're scared, you're not angry. Angry is like the secondary result and the expression of being sad because you don't feel like you're allowed to be sad. Cancers are kind of stuck in this reverse role where they're really not allowed to express frustration and anger, but they can express sadness. Especially if someone is a guy, like if there is a masculine energy to this person and they have strong Cancer placement, it can be really confusing for them, especially in our society where you are someone who is sensitive and in tune with the emotional world, and you have a lot of strong, intense emotional reactions to things, but you're not supposed to, and it's suppressed. So a lot of their emotions, especially the negative ones, become internalized, and internalizing feelings like that results in things like passive-aggressive responses in situations and severe manipulation of people. That being said, if you are working with the Cancer archetype, it is something to be aware of that strong feelings means strong positive feelings as well as strong negative feelings. The intensity of emotion with the Cancer is something that they kind of constantly have to navigate. You have that constant tug and push and pull of the moon on the water effect. Taking into consideration all of these really intricate aspects of the Cancer archetype, I am going to put up a beautiful image now, put on some really nice music, and give you a few moments to do some introspection about where you might want to work with these energies in this archetype. If you want to make a list of intentions that you're going to set, if you want to just kind of take this time to do some deep breathing and some meditation, visualization, I will be back with you very shortly, and I will give you some examples of how I could see this archetype being used, as well as creating some positive affirmations and some integration tips and tricks. So, see you in a bit. Welcome back. I hope that that was really nice and relaxing for you because it's put me in a really great mood. Let's talk about some of the intentions that we might have set. And as always, if this is not where you chose to set this intention in your life, if you are working in other areas and I don't mention the intention that you've set, by all means, stick to your intention. Follow in the Cancer archetype's way and listen to your heart. Your intuition knows what you need to be working on, so if that's what you're going to be focusing on, then all of the power to you. The first area of your life would just be your family structure, so be that close family or extended family, reaching out and connecting to those people. We just had a Gemini new moon where we were really communicating and just having small talk and making sure that we were just communicating and bringing in new information. And that's a little different than what I mean when I say connect with family in this situation. I'm talking about being emotionally there for the people in your life, right? Having that emotional connection, risking being vulnerable in a situation that you might not be vulnerable. Or alternatively, it could mean establishing better boundaries for your own emotional security and well-being. Cancer in the 4th house talks about self-care in precisely that way. So if you are needing to establish better boundaries in your close personal relationships, this is a great time to do that. What serves you, what doesn't serve you, what relationships are you compromising too much in, and what relationships do you maybe need to give a little bit more in. I mentioned it earlier, this would be a great time to start working with your ancestors or looking into your ancestry. If you have ever wanted to do the 23andMe kind of style of a test or something like that, this would be a fun time to do that. Doing a family tree if you have kids, or if you are a kid and you want your mom to do a family tree with you, kind of building and valuing and putting time and emotional investment in your family roots. Evaluating your emotional foundations in relationships. So when I thought about this one originally, I was thinking about your romantic relationships in particular, but it really could be friendships or sibling relationships, parent relationships, any relationship where you are wanting to show up and be genuinely in connection with somebody. Make sure that you have built a relationship off of mutual understanding, or you have put that effort into genuinely connecting with somebody on an emotional level. I wouldn't feel right doing a whole video, especially during this time with the political climate being the way that it is, without mentioning the fact that the Black Lives Matter movement is a huge part of our collective focus right now. Being compassionate, being a heart-forward, heart-centered person, whether you are dealing with other people or yourself right now, is a huge need. If you are looking for ways to use this new moon in Cancer and work with this compassionate, nurturing, mothering, kind, comforting energy, this would be a great way to do it. Now, I don't mean go out there and find your only Black friend and smother them with all of this love and attention without listening to their needs. What I mean is being present and hearing what our Black communities, what the Black communities need from us as white people, if you're white like me, or if you're a Black individual, making sure that the people in your life are there to meet your needs as well, right? That they're showing up for you. And I know that many people are hugely focused on this right now, and I'm not in any position to speak on this as if I'm an expert, but if you are looking to use this Cancer energy, I sure as shit know that the Black Lives Matter movement needs our hearts in it. It needs our love, it needs our compassion, it needs our attention. So take the time to reach out to your Black friends, to people of color or communities who are supporting people of color right now, and find a way to lend an ear, to give your heart, to show up and help, to be present in that situation, right? Don't shy away and don't recluse into that Cancer shell of ours, but really step into the uncomfort of it, whether that's alone in your room, looking at your own shadows and working with your own emotional aggression or fear or pain that you might have. Feel into it, right? Cancer really is about emotion. So if you can feel, you're one step closer to being useful in this fight. A few other really good exercises for the Cancer archetype would be simple things like embracing the emotions you have or identifying the feelings you have. I know feelings is a really big topic. It can be really hard to deal with this much emotion, right? Coming into Cancer season, the world is emotionally charged, rightly so. There's a lot of things happening, right? There's a lot of feelings going on. So taking the time to do your shadow work or your light work, doesn't have to be negative, but to do your work around your emotions. Your emotions are your compass to navigate the very complicated world we're all in. It is a beautiful time to work with the new moon energy, Cancer energy, moon, water, cardinal. It is the perfect storm to really hold space for your feelings. And I know that's really uncomfortable for a lot of people. I get your pain, but if there's no time like the present for this kind of work. A few positive affirmations or integration tactics that I might want to suggest would be writing, journaling at this time, especially because Cancer is so internal with being ruled by the moon, our subconscious, our emotional realms. Writing this out will really help people who have a very linear way of thinking. Putting it on paper makes it real, and it also allows you to release a lot of things that you no longer need. So journal, write how you feel down. If you're not feeling any particular way and you really can't choose words for it, Google it. There is lists that will help you work through identifying emotions. I have done it. There is no shame in needing to look that up. Beautiful statements and positive affirmations like I feel happy, I feel excited, I feel empowered. I feel statements can be used right now and kind of have and pack this extra punch. So I feel excited, I feel energetic, I feel empowered, I feel safe, I feel strong. Those are beautiful things to be working with right now. Doing something kind and spending time with the person who fills your mother role. Who fills a mother role? Lots of us have many people we know who behave and are and embody the mother. Can we support them? Can we learn from them? Can we help them? I do want to make sure you know that by no means does working with a mother archetype or embodying the mother archetype only apply to women or people who identify as women. This is for the men, everyone. We all needed to acknowledge that there is a feminine aspect in us and in everyone else. So to not shy away from that and work and look at our feelings, the time is now. And the feminine is a Cancer thing. So look at your relationship to sacred feminine. What is it? Do you have one? Because if you don't, you might want to start. I really hope that this Cancer video didn't come across as too heavy or dramatic. The world is so tumultuous right now. There's a lot of heavy feelings, and having such intense feelings and having such a high sensitivity to emotions results in something called drama often. Not in a negative way, because drama can be beautiful, right? You can go to a movie and watch a beautiful epic drama unfold just as much as there are heartbreaks and the negative side of drama too, right? So please, if you're feeling really strongly about anything during this time, don't chalk it up to I'm being dramatic. Take a look at those feelings. I hope this whole video didn't just like scare you with the juju feeling vibe. That's it for the new moon in Cancer video. It's probably a lot to take in. Cancer season's gonna be a heavy one this year. I'm excited, I'm a little bit nervous because it's intense, but I do know that if we come at life with compassion in the forefront of our minds and we are doing our darndest to remember to treat others as we would like to be treated, that golden rule, we will come out on top with love and goodness. Let me know in the comments below how you are doing. Are you excited for Cancer season? Are you terrified? Remember to give this video a thumbs up. It helps me out. I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day. I'm a little bit nervous because it's going to be intense, and I think if I do this with my hands anymore, I'm going to get hate comments.